The dark manipulation tactics, the unseen puppet strings. Look around you. Everyone seems free. They laugh, they vote, they scroll, they post. But what if I told you, most people are not thinking their own thoughts. They're not making their own choices. They're not even in control of their own emotions. They're being manipulated, not by brute force, but by ancient tactics, silent strategies, invisible strings that guide every move without you even noticing. And it all leads back to one man, Niccolo Machiavelli, the father of modern manipulation, the mind behind the methods used by politicians, CEOs, influencers, lovers, and even your own friends. The ends justify the means. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Sound familiar? That's because these aren't just ideas from a dusty old book. These are the rules that shape modern society. The tactics that win elections, break hearts, sell millions, and destroy lives, all while the victim thanks the manipulator. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is the system. And if you don't understand it, you're already being used by it. In this video, you're going to discover the 5 core rules of Machiavellian control, how these tactics are used against you in everyday life, and real-world examples you've probably lived through. How to spot manipulators, defend yourself, and break free. And the hardest question of all, should you ever use these tactics yourself? Because once you see what they're doing to you, you may never trust the world the same way again. Let's begin. Have you ever felt like someone was playing a game with you, but you didn't even know the rules? A boss who smiled while setting you up for failure. A partner who made you feel guilty for breathing. A politician who promised hope and delivered chaos? What if I told you this isn't random? It's ancient. It's strategic. It's Machiavellian. Every day you wake up and step into a world of manipulation. At work, at home, in politics, in love. There are people pulling strings behind the scenes. Some wear suits, some wear smiles, some sit in government, and some live in your DMs. They aren't using brute force. They use charm, silence, misdirection. They don't threaten you. They influence you to the point where you think their ideas are yours, and their goals. But once you see it, once you recognize the Machiavellian tactics all around you, you can't unsee it. You become immune to their tricks. And maybe, just maybe, you learn to play the game back. Let's go back. The Renaissance is exploding across Europe. And in Italy, a political advisor named Niccolo Machiavelli is writing one of the most controversial books in history, The Prince. It's not a book about kindness. It's not about morality. It's about power, how to get it, how to keep it, and how to crush your enemies. Forget what you've heard about honesty always winning. Machiavelli says, it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. He doesn't care about your feelings. He cares about results. Machiavelli wasn't evil. He was honest, brutally honest, about how the world really works behind closed doors. He believed that appearances matter more than reality, that most people are ruled by emotion, not reason, that morality is a luxury for the powerless, and that if you want to survive in this world, you need to be smarter than those around you. He said, the ends justify the means. And that simple idea has shaped politics, war, business, and society ever since. You might think this is all ancient history, but look around. Politicians lie with a smile and call it spin. Companies act like they care about the planet while exploiting workers overseas. Influencers sell you authenticity after 10 takes and a Photoshop session. People weaponize kindness to control others. This is modern Machiavellianism. And the scary part? Most people don't even see it. They think it's charisma. They think it's leadership. They think it's confident. But it's not. It's strategy. In this video, we're going deep. You're going to learn the exact tactics Machiavellian manipulators use today in society, business, media, dating, and everyday life. Real examples, real strategies, and how to protect yourself from being controlled without even knowing it. Because the truth is, if you don't understand manipulation, you're being manipulated. This isn't a conspiracy, it's a system, and it's time you learned how it works. Machiavellian manipulation isn't chaos, it's a strategy. And like any great strategy, it's built on core principles, timeless, brutal, and effective. Let's break down the 5 deadly rules of Machiavellian tactics and show you how they shape our modern world without most people ever realizing it. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." Translation, it's not about who you are, it's about who people think you are. That's why the Machiavellian never shows all their cards. They build an image, polished, confident, trustworthy, and behind that mask, they plot. Modern example, think of the Instagram influencer promoting a real life that's actually filtered, scripted, and sponsored. Or the CEO who claims to be just like us, but quietly funnels millions into offshore accounts. It's all about managing perception, because perception becomes reality. Appear virtuous, act selfishly. To win in the real world, Machiavelli said, you don't need to be good, you just need to look good. A prince must be cunning like a fox and strong like a lion. The key tactic? Pretend to act in the public's interest while secretly serving your own. Modern example, a politician promises hope, unity, and reform, then pushes laws that benefit their donors. Or a co-worker acts like your best friend until they use your secrets to climb the ladder. It's not about having a clean heart. It's about wearing a clean mask. Divide and conquer. Machiavelli knew that unity is power, and power is dangerous to the ruler. So what did he recommend? Keep people divided, distracted, at each other's throats. Because when people are busy fighting each other, they're too blind to fight the real enemy. A wise ruler does not unite his enemies. Modern example, politics, left versus right, race versus race, poor versus poor, while the rich get richer. Social media, algorithms reward outrage, tribalism, and constant fighting. The vision is profitable, it's strategic, and it keeps those in power untouchable. Exploit people's weakness. Machiavellian manipulators are expert psychologists. They watch, they listen, and they learn what makes you tick. Fear, ego, insecurity. When you're not looking, they control what you do, what you think, and who you trust. Knowing these tactics doesn't make you paranoid. It makes you powerful. Because once you see the game, you can finally stop being a pawn and start playing like a king. You know the tactics now. But what if I told you you're surrounded by them? From the boardroom to the bedroom, from the news to your notification, Machiavellian manipulation is everywhere. It's in the way you're marketed to, how you're governed, how you're loved, and how you're kept in check. Let's rip off the mask and expose where these tactics hide in modern society. 1. Politics, the theater of control. Modern politics is not about truth. It's about power and perception. Machiavelli would feel right at home in today's political circus. Politics have no relation to morals. Machiavelli. Divide and conquer? They find your crack and drive a wedge into it. Men are driven by 2 things, fear and self-interest. Modern example, the marketer sells get-rich-quick dreams to the desperate. A toxic partner says, "No one else will ever love you like I do." A friend uses your trauma to keep you dependent on them. They don't need strength. They just need to use yours against you. Strike when it's least expected. Machiavellians don't waste energy. They wait. They watch. And when their target is distracted, emotional, or vulnerable, they strike. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. So they become both. Modern example: a rival at work who pretends to support you until the day before the promotion. A friend who waits until your worst moment to betray you. A leader who uses a crisis to grab more control while everyone is panicking. Timing is everything. Machiavellians don't act often, they act effectively. Let's recap the core Machiavellian tactics. Manipulate perception, not reality. Appear virtuous, act in self-interest. Divide and conquer. Exploit weaknesses. Strike with precision. They don't yell. They whisper. They don't show rage. They show strategy. And whether you realize it or not, these principles are shaping your world every single day. Why this matters. Most people walk through life with blinders on. They think manipulation looks obvious. Threats, anger, screaming. But the real manipulators? Media, the masters of emotion. The media should inform you. But most of it, it's engineered to influence you. Through clever PR, spin doctors, and photo ops, politicians appear trustworthy, strong, and righteous, even when they're corrupt to the core. Real-world example: a politician preaches environmentalism while accepting millions from oil companies. Their speeches sound noble, but their actions betray the truth. That's textbook Machiavellianism, and we cheer for it like it's entertainment. Because fear and anger sell. Men are so simple and so subject to present necessities that he who deceives will always find someone who will let himself be deceived. Machiavelli. News organizations use Machiavellian tactics to get your clicks, your trust, and your loyalty. They manipulate perception by cherry-picking facts, to exploit your fear to keep you glued to the screen. They divide society into us versus them, so you'll fight, share, and rage. Real-world example. A headline reads, "This group is destroying America." It's vague, emotional, and triggers your bias. The story? Mostly speculation. But you've already been manipulated without realizing it. You don't consume media anymore. Media consumes you. 3. Relationships. The quiet war for control. Love, friendship. These are supposed to be safe, honest, and pure. But even here, Machiavellian tactics thrive. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Machiavelli. In toxic relationships, people use emotional weapons like guilt trips to control your behavior, gaslighting to distort your reality, silent treatment to manipulate your emotions, fake vulnerability to gain sympathy and power. Real-world example. Your partner makes a mistake. Instead of apologizing, they cry and say, "I knew you'd leave me like everyone else." Now you're apologizing for their mistake, manipulated by emotional leverage. That's Machiavellian. They don't raise their voice. They raise your guilt. Or the workplace. Office Politics 101. Think your job is all about hard work and talent? Think again. The corporate world is a breeding ground for quiet Machiavellians. Those who climb the ladder using charm, sabotage, and strategy. Who seeks to deceive will always find someone who will allow himself to be deceived. Common tactics. Backhanded compliments to lower your confidence. Feigning support while plotting your downfall. Forming alliances to isolate and weaken competitors. Taking credit for ideas they quietly stole. Real-world example. You share a project idea in a team meeting. Next week, your coworker presents it as their own. You're blindsided, but they already secured the promotion. They didn't yell. They didn't cheat loudly. They Machiavellied their way to the top. 5. Social media and influencer culture, the art of deception. Machiavelli said, "Men judge more by the eyes than by the hands, for everyone can see a thing, but few can feel it." Translation: image is everything, and nowhere is that more true than social media. Manipulate perception, it's the entire game. Faking wealth to seem successful. Photoshopping bodies to sell beauty products. Posting relatable content to build false connection. Crying on camera to gain sympathy and followers. Influencers craft carefully engineered personas, ones that appear honest, raw, and real. But behind the scenes, it's a brand, a strategy, a business. Real-world example. A lifestyle influencer goes viral for a candid breakup post. Tears, heartbreak, vulnerability. Days later, sponsored content about healing retreats and affiliate links. It was never about healing. It was Machiavellian marketing. It's in our system, from the people at the top to the person sitting across from you. Machiavellianism is embedded in the systems we live in. Politics controls us by dividing us. Media manipulates us with emotion. Relationships entrap us through guilt. Workplaces reward quiet aggression. Social media sells us illusion as identity. And here's the darkest part. Most people don't even know they're doing it. They were raised in these systems, trained by them, shaped by them. They lie because it works. They charm because it pays. They manipulate because the world rewards it. Wake up or be controlled. This isn't about being paranoid. It's about being conscious. The moment you start seeing the patterns, you stop being a pawn. You stop falling for guilt trips, political games, fake apologies, and emotional bait. You become immune. And from there, you get to choose. Will you play the game? Or will you rewrite the rules? You've learned the theory. Now it's time to see it in action. Let's break down real-world examples of how Machiavellian manipulation is controlling your life right now. Watch closely. You've probably already experienced some of these and didn't even realize it. When things get tense in society, rising prices, unemployment, fear, a clever politician doesn't fix the problem. They find someone to blame. They point the finger. It's not me, but them. Immigrants, the rich, the poor, the other political party, the uneducated, the intellectual elite. The goal is to create internal conflict so the people never unite against their true oppressor. A wise ruler does not unite his enemies. Machiavelli. The more divided we are, the more easily we're controlled. Ever notice how the news always makes you angry or scared? That's not an accident. That's a Machiavellian design. They trigger outrage to keep you clicking. They exploit fear to keep you glued to the screen. Your kids are in danger. Your freedom is at risk. This is why you can't trust them. Facts are boring. Fear is profitable. Real truth, buried. Because manipulation pays more than honesty ever could. There's a trend online. Influencers post crying videos, raw confessions, "I'm just like you" breakdowns. But watch carefully. Right after the tears comes a promo code. Your product, a course, a link in bio. What looks like authenticity is often emotional manipulation designed to make you trust them so they can sell to you. That's Machiavellianism wrapped in a soft tone and pastel lighting. Men are so simple and so obedient to present necessities that he who deceives will always find someone who will let himself be deceived. Feeling of using it, a CEO announces massive layoffs. thousands lose their jobs. Then, the next week, they post smiling selfies at a retreat. Grateful for our team, leadership, grind never stops. This isn't incompetence. It's a Machiavellian strategy. Cut costs. Spin it as restructure. Manipulate perception with corporate jargon. Maintain the image of a visionary leader. Because it's not about people. It's about power and positioning. Another one, partners who weaponize guilt. This is the emotional trap that ruins relationships. You forget to text back. You make a mistake. You try to be honest. Instead of talking it out, they say, "You don't really love me. Everyone leaves me. I knew you'd hurt me too." Suddenly, you're the villain, even when you were trying to be kind. They've slipped the script, made your care into a weapon used against you. This is Machiavellian guilt, controlling through pity. A common one is friends who sabotage you in secret. Some friends aren't friends. They're subtle enemies in disguise. Give you bad advice on purpose. Undermine your confidence with fake concern. Trash talk you behind your back. Act supportive to your face. Why? Because your success threatens them. So they cut your wings while pretending to cheer you on. This is emotional espionage. Smiling faces. Poison hearts. Machiavelli would be proud. A common one in modern-day society is dating coaches who promote manipulation over connection. The modern dating advice isn't about love. It's about domination. They teach tactics like version of help hold attention to make them chase you. Mirror their personality to gain trust. Use jealousy to gain control. It's not about building intimacy. It's about winning a game. This is psychological warfare dressed as confidence. The worst part irks on insecure people. Because Machiavellians don't seek love. They seek leverage. In workplace also, bosses who pretend to mentor you but use you. They say, "I'm here to help you grow. You're like family. I see leadership in you." But behind the scenes, they use your ideas without credit. They pile work on you while taking long lunches. They block your promotion to keep you loyal. And this is manipulation through praise. A false sense of growth to keep you in place. You're not being mentored. You're being used like a pawn in their climb. Another one is public apologies that aren't apologies. Ever seen a celebrity get caught in a scandal? They release a statement. "I'm sorry if anyone was offended. That's not who I am." This has been a learning experience. Notice the wording. It's not an apology. It's image control. There's no accountability, only spin. The goal isn't to make things right. It's to restore their brand. That's strategic remorse. And the public falls for it every time. Another trick is the brand wars that manufacture loyalty. Apple versus Android. Pepsi versus Coke. Nike versus Adidas. These rivalries seem real until you realize they're engineered to create tribalism. You feel emotionally attached to a product. You defend it. You argue over it. You advertise it for free. That's not loyalty. That's manipulated identity. Brands don't sell products anymore. They sell meaning and make you feel like choosing them makes you superior. That's Machiavellian marketing. What do all these examples have in common? They're quiet, subtle, socially acceptable, even celebrated. But underneath, they're pure manipulation. And here's the kicker. Most people don't realize they're using Machiavellian tactics. They learned them from society, from parents, from politics, from survival. They didn't read the prints. They absorbed it through culture. And unless you wake up, you'll keep falling for it. Now let's dive into the Dark Triad connection. Machiavellianism is dangerous, but when you combine it with two other toxic traits, it becomes deadly. Psychologists call it the Dark Triad, a trio of personality traits that together form the blueprint for the most manipulative, charming, and cold-blooded individuals on Earth. And chances are, you've met someone like this. Or worse, you trusted them. Let's break it down. The 3 faces of the Dark Triad. 1. Machiavellianism. The master of manipulation. Strategic, cunning, calculated. They don't act from emotion. They act from advantage. They lie if it benefits them. They smile while stabbing you in the back. They don't care if it hurts you, only if it works. 2. Narcissism. The worshiper of self. Craves attention, needs admiration, thinks they're special, better, deserving. They believe the world revolves around them. And if you don't agree, you're either an enemy or a tool. They aren't just confident, they're entitled. They don't just want power, they want worship. 3. Psychopathy. The cold one lacks empathy, doesn't feel guilt, and hurt you physically, emotionally, financially, and sleep like a baby. They're impulsive, reckless, and dangerously calm in situations where others would panic. They don't care. They simply want to win. What happens when all 3 combine? When someone has all 3 traits, they become a force of destruction. A human predator, often disguised as a leader, lover, a mentor, a savior. But behind the charm is a machine. They manipulate like a Machiavellian. They demand praise like a narcissist. They destroy like a psychopath. And here's the twist. Society rewards them. Why the Dark Triad rises to power. It's no coincidence that many of these individuals rise to the top. They're fearless. They're persuasive. They're shameless. They don't hesitate. And in a world that values confidence over character, they shine. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. Machiavelli. 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 This book is written for men and women. This book is written for men and women. This book is written for, but in this case, it's the title that hides the predator. Real-world examples? A CEO who cuts pensions while taking millions in bonuses. A guru who sleeps with followers under the guise of spiritual healing. A politician who lies to win and feels no remorse when caught. These people don't just break rules. They bend reality, finding the Dark Triad. They often come off as charismatic, charming, witty, audacious. But watch for the signs. They never take blame, it's always someone else's fault. They gaslight, making you doubt your own mind. They love bomb, then devalue you. They use others as stepping stones with no remorse. They enjoy control, even if it hurts people. And when they're finally caught, they smile. They deny, or they pivot effortlessly. The aftermath of dealing with them. Being close to someone with a Dark Triad personality leaves wreckage. You doubt yourself. You feel drained. You question your worth. You suffer in silence, thinking it was your fault. It wasn't. You were manipulated by a master of illusion. They mirrored your hopes, promised your dreams, and weaponized your love, trust, or loyalty against you. Why awareness is power. Understanding the Dark Triad doesn't make you cynical, it makes you immune. Because these people don't want to fight you, they want to use you. If you see through the mask, they lose their grip. Here's how to protect yourself. Set boundaries and enforce them like law. Watch for inconsistencies. Their stories don't line up. Don't overshare. They collect secrets like currency. Stop explaining yourself. They don't care. Leave early. If your gut says something's off, believe it. Here's a dangerous truth. The scariest thing? Dark Triad people are often admired. 2. News headlines shape what you fear. Turn on the news. What do you feel? But charisma without conscience is a weapon. And charm without empathy is a mask for destruction. Here are more ways how you're being manipulated daily. You think you're making your own choices. But what if I told you, every single day, You're being manipulated. Quietly, subtly, strategically. Let's break down exactly how Machiavellian tactics are used against you. From the time you wake up to the moment you fall asleep. 1. Your phone is programming you. Your smartphone isn't just a tool. It's a behavioral conditioning device. Apps use Machiavellian design to keep you addicted. Endless scroll keeps you trapped in the feed. Notifications hijack your attention. Likes and comments feed your ego, then starve it. Algorithmic content shows you what makes you emotional, angry, scared, lustful, to keep you hooked. You're not choosing what you see. The algorithm is choosing what controls you. And it's not there to inform you. It's there to own you. Confusion. That's not an accident. That's psychological manipulation. They don't report events, they frame narratives. They're coming for your rights. This group is ruining everything. You're not safe unless you do what we say. Fear makes you obedient. And when you're afraid, you don't question, you comply. This is classic Machiavellianism. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. 3. Everyday conversations are power games. Not every manipulator is in government. Some are sitting across from you at dinner. Here's what modern Machiavellianism looks like in conversation. Someone interrupts constantly to dominate. They pretend not to understand you to make you feel stupid. They ask personal questions but reveal nothing. They give backhanded compliments to weaken your confidence. It feels subtle, and it feels normal, but it's not. It's a quiet battle for social power, where one person stays in control by making the other feel less than. 4. You're being sold feelings, not products. Walk into a store or scroll through Amazon. You're not just buying a product, you're buying a story about who you'll become. Buy this perfume and feel desired. Wear these shoes and feel unstoppable. Drink this energy drink and feel powerful. The product isn't the point. The emotion is. This is Machiavellian marketing. It exploits your insecurity, then sells you a solution. They make you feel not enough, so you spend to feel whole. 5. You're trained to doubt yourself, or had a feeling something was wrong, but everyone around you said you were too sensitive. That's social gaslighting, a cultural tactic to make you question your instincts. You're told, don't be dramatic. It's not that serious. Everyone does it. Over time, you stop trusting your gut. You stop saying no. You stop fighting back. That's how manipulators win. Not with force, but with doubt. 6. Choice is often an illusion. Think you're in control of your options? Think again. Most choices are designed to lead you to the same outcome. In politics, 2 parties, same lobbyists. In shopping, 10 brands owned by 3 companies. In media, dozens of outlets owned by 5 corporations. It's not real choice. It's manufactured consent. You're given the illusion of freedom, while your decisions are guided behind the scenes. That's peak Machiavellian strategy. Control people best by making them think they're free. 7. Silence is a tool of control. Not all manipulation is active. Sometimes it's strategic silence that does the damage. A partner refuses to talk about issues to punish you. A leader ignores criticism, so it disappears. A friend withholds support until you behave. This creates emotional pressure. You feel like you're walking on eggshells. It's not miscommunication. It's intentional, because silence can wound deeper than words. 8. Guilt is the leash around your neck, one of the most powerful tools of manipulation, and it shows up everywhere. You don't visit enough, paid it off halfway there. All I've done for you, so you're just going to abandon me? Guilt flips the script. So you become the villain, even when you're setting boundaries. The goal? to control your behavior by controlling your emotions. It doesn't matter what's true. It only matters what you'll feel bad enough to do. 9. You're constantly being mirrored. Have you ever met someone who seemed just like you? Same interests, same humor, same dreams. It felt too good to be true. It probably wasn't. Manipulators use a tactic called mirroring to gain your trust. They copy your language. They mimic your energy. They agree with your beliefs. Why? Because we trust people who seem familiar. It lowers our guard so they can get close before they strike. It's a performance, and you're the audience until the curtain drops. 10. You're being worn down, not taken down. Here's the final truth. Most manipulation isn't dramatic. It's drip by drip. A joke at your expense here. A missed apology there. A decision made without you. A lie you forgive. Because everyone lies. It's not one big betrayal. It's 1,000 tiny cuts. And by the time you realize you're bleeding, you've already been conquered. That's slow burn control, and it's everywhere. See the patterns, break the chains. The moment you begin to recognize these daily tactics, your world shifts. You stop reacting blindly. You start choosing consciously. You become psychologically bulletproof because the manipulators don't want you to see the game. They want you too tired, too emotional, too busy to notice. But now, you notice, and that makes you dangerous. How to defend yourself from manipulation. You've seen the tactics. You've felt the control. You know the game. Now it's time to learn how to defend yourself, mentally, emotionally, and strategically. This is how you build a mind that cannot be manipulated, a presence that cannot be controlled, and a life that's immune to Machiavellians. Let's begin. 1. Learn to emotionally detach and observe. Manipulators feed on emotional reactions. If you get angry, they've got leverage. If you get defensive, they've got control. If you get desperate, they've got power. So the first step, stop reacting and start observing. Imagine stepping back, like a camera zooming out from a scene. Ask yourself, what is this person trying to get from me? What emotion are they triggering? What's the pattern behind their words? Don't engage emotionally. Analyze objectively. Because once you can observe manipulation without feeling its sting, you become unplayable. Set boundaries and make them non-negotiable. A boundary isn't a suggestion. It's a rule for how people treat you, speak to you, and behave around you. Here's how manipulators test boundaries. They joke about your insecurities. They pressure you after you say no. They slowly wear you down until you give in. Make the line clear and immovable. Examples. I don't tolerate being interrupted. That's not funny to me. If you do that again, I'm done. Say it once, mean it, enforce it. Machiavellians target people who bend, so become unbending. 3. Practice strategic silence. You don't owe anyone a reaction, or an explanation, or a response. Silence is power. When someone tries to bait you, stay silent. When someone guilt trips you, pause. When someone lies, stare back and say nothing. Silence makes manipulators uncomfortable. They can't read you. They can't control you. They need emotional data to work with, and silence cuts off their fuel. Sometimes the strongest move is no move at all. 4. Study patterns, not excuses. A manipulator will always have a reason. I didn't mean it. I had a bad day. You're being too sensitive. But ignore the words. Watch the patterns. Do they always shift blame? always twist your words, always make you doubt yourself? If yes, stop justifying it. People lie with words. They tell the truth through repetition. And if the pattern is manipulation, walk away without warning. 5. Never overshare too soon. Machiavellians don't use force. They use information. The more they know about you, your fears, dreams, past wounds, the more leverage they have. So don't overshare. Guard your inner world like a fortress. Share slowly. Is trust. Reveal only what's earned, not what's asked for. Because every personal detail you drop in the wrong hands can be weaponized later. 6. Build an inner core of self-worth. The number one target of manipulation? Insecurity. Machiavellians feed on your self-doubt. They twist your desire for approval, love, recognition. So your best armor? Unshakable self-worth. You don't need their validation. You don't need their praise. You don't even need their love. When you know your value, you can't be bargained down. Because a person who doesn't need anything is a person who can't be controlled. 7. Stop trying to be understood. One of the biggest manipulation traps? Trying to explain yourself to someone who doesn't care. They twist your words. Play the victim. Need to pretend to misunderstand, to keep you talking in circles. Don't fall for it. If someone's actions are manipulative, call it or cut it. You don't need them to understand. You need them to respect your boundary or disappear. 8. Develop pattern recognition over people-pleasing. People pleasers are often the first victims. Why? Because they're trained to. Say yes, even when it hurts. Avoid conflict at all costs. Fix broken people. Sacrifice themselves to be liked. But Machiavellians see that and exploit it. The antidote? Stop pleasing. Start pattern matching. Look for repeated behaviors, not surface charm. Look for red flags, not sweet words. And above all, believe what you see, not what they say. 9. Know when to walk away. This is the hardest and most powerful defense. Leave. Don't argue. Don't wait for closure. Don't hope they'll change. Someone constantly manipulates you, repeatedly violates your boundaries, uses charm to cover cruelty. Then the smartest, most Machiavellian move you can make is to disappear, because a Machiavellian only wins if you stay in the game. 10. Don't become what you're fighting. Here's the paradox. Once you understand these tactics, you'll be tempted to use them. Because they work, they get results. They get respect fast. But beware. Manipulation breeds isolation. Control destroys connection. And power gained through fear is always fragile. You don't need to become a manipulator. You just need to become immune to one. Use this knowledge to defend, not dominate. To protect, not to poison. That's the real power. Now, you've seen how the game is played, and now you're asking the ultimate question. Should I use these tactics myself? Should I manipulate to protect myself? To win? To survive? Let's talk about it. The world isn't fair. Good people get overlooked. Honest people get betrayed. Kindness gets mistaken for weakness. Because let's face it, charm opens doors. Lies win votes. Calculated emotion controls people. Fear forces respect. And sometimes playing fair means losing to cheaters. Here is something to remember. There's a difference between being strategic and being manipulative. Strategic people think ahead, observe quietly, choose their words carefully, protect their energy, move with intention. They're not trying to control others. They're trying to control themselves and their environment. Manipulators, on the other hand, lie for gain, exploit emotion, hide intentions, weaponize kindness, deceive and destroy. Strategic thinking is a tool, manipulation is a weapon, and how you use your knowledge defines who you are. There are moments in life where playing naive is dangerous. Here's when strategy, even cold, calculated strategy, becomes self-defense. When you're dealing with a narcissist, when you're protecting your business or brand, when your kindness is being used against you. And survival depends on silence and observation. When someone's trying to emotionally exploit or abuse you, in these moments, you don't have to be manipulative, but you do need to be mentally sharp. As the saying goes, be kind, but don't be a fool. Be calm, but not a victim. Be peaceful, but prepared to burn the bridge. True strength is when you can manipulate, but don't. As you know, you can walk away instead of control. You can speak the truth instead of deceive. You can win without stepping on others. You can lead without fear. You can protect yourself without becoming your enemy. Real power isn't about playing the game better. It's about choosing when not to play. Make no mistake, there will be moments when the dark path whispers to you. Say what they want to hear. Use their weakness against them. Pretend, lie, control, win. It will promise ease. It will promise power. But power gained through manipulation is always hollow. You'll lose trust, respect, connection, inner peace. Because in the end, the greatest betrayal is betraying who you really are. If this video has taught you anything, let it be this. You don't need to become cold and cruel to protect yourself. You don't need to lie, cheat, and manipulate to succeed. Strategy to play it smart, boundaries to hold your ground, courage to walk away, character to sleep at night. Machiavellianism shows us the dark side of power, but it also reveals what kind of person not to be. Because in a world full of manipulators, the most radical act is to be real, strong, and uncorrupted. Now you've seen it. The strategies, the psychology, the tactics. You've looked beneath the surface of society and seen the dark machinery running everything from relationships to politics. You know now, manipulation isn't rare. It's a language, a system, silent war, and most people, they're losing because they don't even know the game exists. But you do. You're not naive anymore. You've stepped out of the fog. You now understand how perception is more powerful than truth, how silence can say more than words, how guilt, fear, charm, and division are used as weapons. And most importantly, you understand that manipulation is everywhere, but that doesn't mean you should fear it. It means you're finally ready to face it. You have two choices. Choice one, stay the same. Keep living blind. Keep getting tricked. Keep letting people play games with your mind, your time, your heart. Choice two, evolve. They'll learn the game, not to destroy, but to defend, not to control, but to see clearly, not to manipulate others, but to make sure no one ever manipulates you again. This is what power looks like. Power isn't control. Power is clarity. It's knowing when to walk away. It's knowing who's lying and smiling anyway. It's being unshakable when someone tries to guilt you. It's recognizing charm as a weapon and choosing stillness instead of seduction. It's not reacting to chaos, it's creating calm within it. Because the true master of the game doesn't need to play it at all. You are the disruption. In a world full of manipulators, be clear. In a world full of liars, be grounded. In a world full of control, be free. You don't have to manipulate to succeed. You just have to stop being manipulated. And that alone makes you dangerous. You've just seen behind the curtain. If you've made it this far, you're not average. You're not asleep. You're the kind of mind this world needs more of. So here's your next move. Like this video if it opened your eyes. Share it with someone who needs to wake up. Subscribe so you never miss the truth they don't want you to hear. And in the comments, tell us the moment that hit you hardest. Was it the media manipulation? The toxic relationship? The fake apologies? Or the dark triad you've seen in real life? Drop your comments below. Because when you share your story, someone else wakes up too. This isn't just a video. This is the beginning of an army of awakened minds, and you're now one of them.